So we're back with another episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty, or the summer that Conrad Fisher watched every episode of Grey's Anatomy. And you know the one. Say it with me. Pick me. Choose me. Love me.
This message was brought to you by the Harper Avery Foundation of America. Donations to the foundation can be made at www.nepotism.
But welcome back to The Rosy Romantic. I'm Bree, and today we're going to break down that episode of The Last Hurrah, episode 7 of season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Also, please feel free to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, y'all. I am so excited.
What?
I know we love all things romance, so please feel free to subscribe because it will really help the channel a lot. So grab your drinks, grab your snacks, and let's chat. Just to let you know, there will be spoilers throughout this video, so let's jump right in. So let's start at the very beginning. We see Belly, and she's getting ready for this wedding that's gonna happen in 3 days.
3 days? Yes! Exactly.
In 3 days, all this drama is gonna happen, and I still don't know how that fight that's gonna go down between Conrad and Jeremiah. I'm not ready. I'm telling you, I'm not ready for it. I'm going to be so sad when it happens, but I'm trying to prepare myself. And we see Conrad, he's helping around the house. He's trying to distract himself because he's like, I just can't believe what's going on. Like, I can see his point of view of things, because remember, I'm not team Conrad and I'm not team Jeremiah. I'm team, I want the brothers to be okay. All right, is that too much to ask? That's just me. But he's going around the house, he's fixing things, and he's trying. He's going on YouTube and trying to figure things out. Good for you, Conrad. I just want you to know that when you're working on the power of a house or anything, okay, you turn off the power.
A town risk. What the heck does that mean?
If you're working on anything electric, turn off the power, okay? You could really hurt yourself.
Oh, at own risk. Sorry.
Belly seems to think, she's like, oh no, I'm marrying Jeremiah, and that thing that happened with me and Conrad, and the whole like surfing injury thing, and my heart was going, like this, and I heard that Taylor Swift song in my head. It didn't happen.
Really? Oh.
Look, you gotta make a decision, okay? You cannot be going back and forth between these two brothers. And if you got married to either of them, you cannot be like, okay, in your marriage with one of them, and then be like, oh, I'm having trouble in this marriage, so I'm gonna go to the other brother. You can't be doing that. Like that. You see what I'm saying? Like this, it's messed up.
Ew.
They're setting up for their Bachelorette weekends, and it's one big old party. And Conrad is basically just trying to grin and bear it. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna put a big old smile and pretend that everything's fine, everything's okay.
Fake.
I was cracking up so much in this episode. I know a lot of people were crying. At this point, I'm just like, this is just hilarious to me, because I'm like, I just can't even believe the scenario that's happening. I'm like, One Tree Hill? Did they do this? I'm like, they were half brothers. And then in Rain, leave in the comments below if some soap operas where the girl was dating both the brothers. Now, Vampire Diaries, yeah, we'll talk about that, but you know how like weird this is? Okay, so yeah, Conrad's trying to be supportive, but then we see John and Laurel. They're getting ready to say at this inn in Cousins, and then we see who do I have a beef with here? Adam, and Adam brings Kaylee.
Interesting.
Or completely useless. No way to know for sure.
Kaylee come and roll up in here, and she's like, oh, I just have a few questions for the mother of the bride. Laurel was better than me, because I'm not dealing with you. And she'd be like, why is that? I'll be like, oh, why is it?
I'm not through.
And then Adam would be like, what's your problem? And then I'll be like, what's your problem? See, I would get myself into trouble. So we're back at the cousin's house, and we're seeing the festivities begin, and Jeremiah brought in some stuff, for their party. Look, I'm not judging, okay? You know, let Jeremiah, he's, you know, doing his thing. He's trying, you know, let loose, you know, for his bachelor and then the bachelorette party. But tell me why, okay, the stuff they brought in, I just had, you know, just a couple questions. Why do we see Jeremiah's friend bringing in, and then bringing in to Annika there, and was trying to be very, like, chivalrous. He's like, oh, here you go. Why are the only two black people doing this first on screen? Riddle me that. Okay, I'm just curious. That's all I have to say. Okay, it just, I was like, that's interesting. Why were they the first one? Okay. Well, that's just interesting to me. Okay. But we have Annika saying how she's single and ready to mingle. And she's like, okay, so who all, like, can you give me, like, a breakdown of what, you know, who's single, who's not, who's ready to mingle, and whatever. And they were saying that, you know, Ethan is there, but then Blake is Jeremiah's ex. So Jeremiah's ex is here, and Belly's ex is here. This is just messy. And then Annika finding out, she's like, now wait a minute, you were with Conrad, and that's Jeremiah's brother. So you were with both the brothers.
Oh, that's great. Let me know how that goes.
But Conrad, yes, is Belly's first love, blah, blah, blah. Then we see Steven and Denise roll up. Okay, now this was fun because Denise doesn't really know, and so like Annika as well, they don't know really the breakdown of all that's happened at Cousins, so it's interesting to see the reactions to what happens. And Taylor sees this, and she's wanting to get back with Steven, but she's trying to play it cool. She's like, I'm your friend, and it's good, and I'll be your wingman to so that you and Denise can get together, because I can see clearly that you like her. And I'm like, Taylor, okay, there is a difference between being supportive and being too supportive. I was like, girl, if you really like this man, okay, you're just friends to him, and if he wants to go on a date with Denise and do that, and you know, he wants to, you know, pursue that relationship, let him do it on his own time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to push anything. Anyway, we see the wedding crew rehearsing their reception dances. And I thought this was fun, and cute to see, because everyone else was saying that it was cringy and what are they doing? And at most weddings, like, you're not, you know, the best dancers, or sometimes you have like an exceptional dancer in the group, but sometimes not, and they're just having fun.
It's a bit camp, but we'll go with it.
But I would say they all need to take a note from The Best Man's Holiday. Do you remember when the guys, and they performed Can You Stand the Rain? Now that is a performance, okay? They put in the work for that. So next time, okay, Cousins crew, I'm gonna need you to see that. Reference that and see how much work they put in for that, okay? Because that is the standard, okay? Can you stand the rain? And most of them can't. I'm sorry.
Come on, okay, let's go.
But yeah, after all that fun there, Jeremiah is talking to Conrad, and he's saying, hey, so Dad offered me a full-time position, and then I found a way to do classes online, so this is pretty much my plan. Conrad is like, okay, so basically you're doing everything that Dad wants you to do. And Conrad knows that in his mind, he's like, what do you want to do, Jeremiah? Like, I want you to do something that you love. I think he says, yeah, I just want you to do something that you love with your life. And that's beautiful. Like, that's why I don't like this love triangle thing, because we could really see a nice relationship between Jeremiah and Conrad, but because the whole Belly thing, like, it just, like, no, like, I just wish this whole love triangle just didn't happen. It just makes me upset. But Jeremiah is trying to be really thankful to Conrad, and he's trying to be, you know, sincere, but then in the back of his mind, he's thinking, thank you, you know, so much for being here and helping with the wedding. And he's like, you know, because you're caring for me, right? But then he's like, but then you were here the whole summer. with my girl. Ooh.
Oh, here it goes.
Conrad didn't say, yeah, man, always I'm supportive of y'all. He just said nothing. That is highly suspicious. So I don't know, Conrad, like if you're trying to play up this act, you just should have just brought out your Oscar-worthy performance, because then Jeremiah's like,
What is going on?
why are you silent? What's going on? I have questions. And then right after that, we see Redbird. He takes one of the hurricane vases that Belly and Conrad got at, the whole Michaels thing. And he's like, can I use this to drink in, whatever? And Conrad stands up and he's like going to say no, but then he backs down. He's like, whatever. First of all, okay, never mind the whole like Belly connection thing. I bought that at Michaels, okay, with my money. Or I guess it's Belly's money, I don't know. But somebody bought it with their money and it's in my house. You're gonna put that down right now. So, you know what I mean? Like, I want Conrad to stand up. I want you to stand up for yourself. I don't want you to back down and be like, oh, well, I guess that's how things are. Stand up for yourself.
Now, come on now.
Later on, we see Belly and Jeremiah, and they're getting ready for their big night out. And Jeremiah's like, hey, I haven't got to spend, time with my fiance in a while, so I, just want to check in. And now I feel like the reason that the scene was a little bit awkward is because we saw the scene recently with Conrad. Not just the flashback scene, but also the whole surf injury thing. And we know that is on Belly's mind. So no longer is she thinking about Jeremiah. So she's thinking about like Conrad, like this is at the forefront. And we even see it later when she's, at that, the dance, she's dancing and she had that gummy. Like, so this is why I feel it's so awkward. Like she's not being honest with Jeremiah. And then Jeremiah is, I don't know, it's just, I feel like they're just not being honest with one another. And this is why it just feels like, you're just like, okay, like, do they want to continue to pursue this relationship? I don't know.
We sabotaging this thing or what? Absolutely.
Now we are getting to my favorite part about this episode, and it was John and Laurel. Yep. Because if I'm going to ship something, it's going to be John and Laurel. The way they had the most mature conversation, they were laughing, they were flirting, they were being honest with one another, and it was just a nice conversation. And here is Laurel being, open and honest with John about, what she's going through, and she's talking about Kaylee and how she misses Susanna and, all those things, and they're thinking about, memories, and how I feel like Laurel's in a place in her life where she's like, I finally have, I put myself first in thinking about like, loving yourself, and now because she loves, herself, that she can love someone else. When she was younger and she married and she didn't know how to, to balance all these things, and as, very scary when you're trying to, juggle everything and you feel like you're, losing some of, who you are. But here was John, even though she was going through all that, he was there, right there for her. He was, still a friend. He still co-parented. He was, through all the things. And at the end of the day, he's still there. So that's the only couple right now I'm rooting for.
There's chemistry.
So we're back with Belly, Annika, and Taylor, and they're outside this candy shop in Cousins. And Taylor and Belly are talking about how much they value each other's friendships and things. And Belly tells Taylor, thank you so much for talking to my mom. Like, that meant so much to me. Like, you're like the best friend ever. And Taylor's like, what are you talking about? I didn't talk to Laurel.
You don't know this? I know something about history that you don't know.
Who could it be? But Conrad happens to be across the street or down the street. I really couldn't tell where he was. But he's walking with the Bachelor crew, and she's like, it's him. He's the one. Like, I'm like, Belly, I don't understand. She's like, how this man, she's in her mind, thinks this man has been for her like all her life. Okay, yes, Conrad has been there, you know, as a good friend and, you know, tried to be supportive in some instances, okay? But he wasn't there all the time. So I don't get the whole idealized thing of Conrad. Like, I just don't understand it. How can she just see that he's just human? We all have flaws. You know what I mean? Because Jeremiah was there for you when you had your knee injury. Belly, do you remember? Do you remember the man you've been with for the last 4 years? That he's been with you? And you, okay.
Are you for real right now?
Yes.
Okay.
So Belly confronts Conrad, and Conrad's like, look, I was, you know, trying to help you because you're trying to get married, and honestly, it was because it was important to you, and what does he say? You should have everything that you've ever pictured. Conrad, okay, I can get if you're trying to be a supportive friend, that's great. But do not give this woman anything more, okay, from you, because look, she clearly needs to figure out how to be on her own, because Belly is feeling some type of way about that. She later on, she is just crashing out. I'm like, girl, you really need to get together. And after she told Jeremiah that they were both supposed to, you know, make sure they weren't doing a whole lot because they want to be ready for all the wedding stuff later on. But then they both break each other's promises. Think about that. Think about that, Belly and Jeremiah. Like, if you really want to prove your love, you know, to each other, but you all just want to prove it to everyone else. Later on, we see Jeremiah and Conrad, they're talking again. And Jeremiah's like still thanking him, like he's like, you know, thank you for, you know, supporting me through, you know, throughout my life. And now you really don't have to anymore because Belly's here, and Belly's gonna be my wife. Like, she's gonna be my wife. So now the drama intensifies, and we're back at the Bachelorette. Taylor sees Denise, and this is the most mature I've ever seen Taylor. Because she goes up to Denise and's like, look, me and Steven dated, okay? But I'm not gonna get in, you know, between Steven and you, because if he likes you and he wants to, you know, have a relationship and things, I'm not gonna stand in the way of that. Good for you. Mature and respectful. You know, that's it. But here we have the opposite of that right now, Belly. And she's like, I can't deal with these emotions, so I'm gonna take this gummy thing and dance on the floor and then think about Conrad and, you know, the flashes, you know, of him throughout the years. And she now admits to Taylor that she's never pictured, you know, this wedding with Jeremiah. She's only pictured Conrad.
Oh, wow, we're sharing secrets now. See, I didn't know we were at that part of the day, but I am definitely in.
You see why she should have told Jeremiah about Christmas with Conrad.
You see? You see? See what I'm talking about?
Since we're talking about the truth, we see Jeremiah hanging out with the guys, and then I think it's Redbird that is saying about, like, you know, who all Jeremiah has been with, and he's like, man, you were with, you know, one of the guys were like, you were with, you know, Belly for all those 4 years. Redbird's like, no, he was with Lacey that one time in Cabo. Y'all, you remember? Oh my goodness. I'd be like, really? If you're supposed to be my friend, and then you're just telling all my business for everyone to hear. And Conrad is over there.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
I was trying to, you know, understand all of Conrad's anger. I was, but I was so happy that Your Apartment by Wallows was playing in the background. I was so excited because last summer I got to see them in concert, and they were playing from that song from that album called Model. I was like, at your apartment, and so I was like jamming out. I was like, and the whole time I'm like, oh, Conrad's going through it, and then Jeremiah is throwing up, but I am rocking out to the music.
You know that's right.
I was so excited about that song playing, I got distracted. So I had to go back, and I see Conrad is furious at Jeremiah. He's trying to confront him, but then he's throwing up, and Conrad's like, okay, I'm gonna deal with you later. And he walks off. Then the guys get back to the house, and then Jeremiah is pretty much knocked out because, you know, he'd been partying too hard. But Belly is on the beach. Riddle me this. She has been day drinking. She's been night drinking. She has taken gummies and things. And she's on the beach by herself. Okay, I just think, you know, I've seen, you know, a lot of shows and, you know, cop shows and things like FBI, and that's how the show begins.
You in danger, girl.
We see Conrad, he's in the lifeguard chair. Belly sees him. She thinks he's Jeremiah, but it's Conrad. And Conrad's like, I got something to tell you. And she's like, what? Jeremiah, he's like, Jeremiah cheated on you in Cabo with Lacey. Belly's like, no, I've been know that. Conrad is freaking out. He's like, I don't understand. I can't understand how you could be, with someone after they cheat on you, blah, blah, blah. But she's like, look, we talked about it. We dealt with that. And now we're moving on. And, we're trying to, progress in our relationship and we're getting married. Conrad can't handle it. He's like, I really thought this is how it was gonna go. I was gonna tell her the truth. She was gonna confront Jeremiah. Then she's gonna come back to me and says, you love me the whole time.
Think you might have a little bit of a problem here, boo.
Now remember, I'm not Team Jeremiah and I'm not Team Conrad. So I'm both gonna call out Conrad and Belly. We have Conrad saying, you're not the kind of person that would take that from a guy. Then Belly says, I put up with a lot worse from you. Okay, so first of all, y'all both have been miscommunicating. You've been, holding back your feelings. You have not been honest. So where you're pointing blame, but both of you are in the wrong for this. And then Conrad he finally admits, he says, I still love you.
You blurted it out. It's not a big deal. That's what I always do. I love you!
Okay. All right, Conrad, you finally admit your feelings. But here we are 4 years later. She has been with your brother for 4 years. I'm like, okay, Conrad, I know that you've been trying to do work and therapy and things, but you have not confronted your feelings for Belly. But this is the time you do it, like a couple days before the wedding. This is not how you handle things like this. This is wrong. And Belly, you're also in the wrong. But she, basically tells him the same thing. Like, you're only saying this because I'm marrying Jeremiah. Like, she's like, I just can't believe you. But yeah, she said, I'm still marrying Jeremiah. And Conrad's like, don't you, basically saying, don't you realize that, I still love you? Like, it's always... I'm like, Conrad, you have to actually say the words. But I can understand where he's coming from, because every time she sees him, like, everything stops. Like, she doesn't really think about Jeremiah, okay, when she sees Conrad in a room.
How many times did you do this?
All the time.
All the time.
We're gonna have a chocolate malt in here.
And then we have Conrad say these classic words here. Don't be with him. Don't marry him. Be with me. And I was like, Conrad, you watched the episode, didn't you? You watched Mary the Grey say, pick me, choose me, love me, and then thought, this is the moment, this is my moment. And then she's going to be with me. But I will say, this acting here, this was 10 out of 10. It was 10 out of 10. It was, the wind was blowing, people were crying, tears were coming down, there was voice breaks. Like, this was good. I was like, okay, look, I'm not Team Conrad, but he's like, baby, please, like, don't leave me. It should be me.
From this day forth to having a whole and richer for poorer, baby, please, please.
But then Belly goes like, nah, no. Jeremiah is my best friend, like, he knows me, like, and he loves me no matter what. Now, Belly, here's my thing, though. Have you been a good friend or best friend to Jeremiah? So after Conrad put his heart on the line, Belly said, and I quote, you and I were never anything.
Just because you don't love me back doesn't give you the right to treat me like dirt. I'm a person, and I have feelings, and I demand to be treated with respect and dignity.
I'm tired of Belly doing this. I'm tired of her going back and forth and back and forth. And it's not fair. You know why? Because Belly, with either option, she's like, you know, someone's gonna love me. Conrad's gonna love me, Jeremiah's gonna love me. But for Conrad and Jeremiah, they lose. Like, either Conrad is in love with Belly or he's with no one. Okay, which is not good. Like, I feel like he should have moved on. And then with Jeremiah, he's like, either it's Belly or no one, which I feel like he should have moved on, like, right after that, those 4 years ago, when she's like, okay, be with me, Jeremiah. He should have said no. And the last and final reason I'm so upset with Belly is that she went to bed with her outside clothes.
As I live and breathe.
I couldn't believe. And so did Jeremiah. But at least Conrad stood out there like on the porch dock thing. And here he was just going like, look, I ain't going back in their house. And I know I'm not going to bed with these outside clothes on. I was so proud of him in that moment.
I like that take on it.
Is that what it is?
I'll take that.
He's like, my heart is breaking. Where do broken hearts go? And I say, you know, broken hearts go back to California. Go back to California, do your thing. You're friends with Agnes. Maybe, you know, you meet somebody there, or, you know, maybe down the line that you could date Agnes, something like that. I'd like to see the spinoff show. I really would.
Yes.
But let me know what you think about this episode. Please feel free to subscribe, because I know we want to talk about all the messy drama that's going on here. And I hope you have a comfy, cozy rest of your day. Bye.